In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial from my group on how to cut this stylish wrap blazer dress. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. So let's dive right into today's video. So first, to start, I marked my basic measurement, which is my shoulder to bust, shoulder to waist, shoulder to hip point, which is 7 inches after your waistline, and then my total of the blazer. Now at the upper part, you want to go ahead to measure your shoulder divided by 2 plus half. So now you're going to go down by 1 inch, and from that point you're going to extend it all the way to the shoulder. Next, you're going to find your chest, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5. Mine is 7. I made a mark on that point, and I'll draw out a straight line. And I'll go back and mark my shoulder divided by 2 plus half. My shoulder is 14, divided by 2 I have 7, plus half I have 7.5. Draw a straight line at that point. Now we are going to go ahead to divide what we have here into 2, and I'll fold my tape and mark. From this point, I'll come in by ½ inch. Now at the chest line, I'll go down and mark my bust circumference divided by 4. After I'm done marking that, I'll go ahead to connect my pattern starting from this point to the ½ inch, and I'll go ahead to connect this all the way to the upper part of my shoulder this way. So the reason why we added extra ½ inch to the shoulder measurement is because this dress has a sleeve, and you're going to use that ½ inch to attach your sleeve. So at the upper part of the shoulder, you want to go ahead and mark a basic neckline of 3 by 1 inch for the back pattern of this dress. So we are marking out the back pattern first before going ahead to cut out the front. So sorry, this part of my pattern at the upper part is not really showing very well, so I did notice that when I was actually cutting this out. So I'll just go ahead and use my marker to outline so that it will be visible. So next, you want to insert your dart for this dress. So I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2, come down by 4 inches from my waistline, mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2 again at the bust. Now I'll be connecting this line. So looking at the dress, you notice that there's no dart on it actually. So there are 2 ways to this. Either you mark your dart and then blend out your dart and use your pattern to cut it out as one piece. So that is what you do for the back pattern, so that it's going to relax very well at the back. So for the front, you can go ahead and cut it out without having a dart. So I'll just go ahead and connect my dart. So before connecting your dart to the upper part, you want to come down by 1 inch from the bust line. And after connecting this, I'll go ahead to insert my measurement. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. You don't need too much sewing allowance. 1 inch is okay for a blazer. Mark your waist circumference divided by 4, replace. Mark your dart intake, replace it, and add your sewing allowance. Mark your hip circumference divided by 4, add 1 inch for your sewing allowance. Now, whatever you have on the hip part of your dress, you can go ahead to mark it or come in by 1 inch. So my hip is 40 divided by 4. I have 10 plus 1 inch, giving me 11. So when I was marking, because of the lower part of this blazer dress looks like it is a bit fitted to the body, I minused 1 inch from what I have on my hips to mark that part out, and I'll go ahead to connect. So after this, we are done cutting out the back pattern, and I'll go ahead to cut it out. So now you're going to take the measurement you have round the neckline of the back pattern, and mine is 3.5 inches. So I'll go ahead to cut this out. After cutting out my pattern, we'll be moving over to the front part of this pattern. For the front pattern, you notice that all our measurements start immediately after this line. So for the wrap blazer part of this dress, you're going to leave about 5 to 7 inches in front, because of the wrap extends almost to the side of the dress. And at the upper part, you notice I added another pattern paper on top. So that part will be serving as the part we'll be using to draft our collar. So I'm going to be marking my shoulder divided by 2 plus half here. So I'm using where that line meets the other point as my starting point. So I'll come down by 1 inch. After coming down by 1 inch at that point, I'll place my ruler and I'm going to go ahead to connect. After I'm done connecting, you go ahead to find your chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and I'll go ahead to mark. So after I'm done marking this, the next step I'm going to take is to mark what I have on the shoulder, on the chest line. Go ahead to draw a straight line. Now I'm going to divide what I have here into 2 by folding up my tape, and I'll mark. Come in by ½ inch just like we did for the front. Go ahead to mark my bust circumference divided by 4 here. Now I'll connect from my shoulder to the ½ inch and down to my chest line, and I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline this to make it more visible for you to see. I'll go ahead to mark a basic neckline of 3 inches by 3 inches, and I will connect this part. So after I'm done marking here, I'll just go in with my marker and I'll mark this out to make it more visible also for you to see. Just like I said earlier, for this dress, you can add a dart and then blend it out and cut it out as one piece, or you can just cut it out without your dart. So for the front pattern, I'll be cutting without a dart because looking at the dress, there's no dart on it. I marked my bust and I added my sewing allowance. Here I'll mark my waist with my sewing allowance. When you're sewing a blazer, 1 inch is okay for your sewing allowance. So here I'm going to mark my hip circumference divided by 4, add 1 inch. So whatever you have here, take out 1 inch from your hip and mark. But I marked my hip measurement exactly, so I will be taking out 1 inch from that point later. So now I'll just go ahead and connect this all the way from the waist to the hip, and then I'll connect it all the way down, and I'll be taking out at least 1 inch from that point. So I'll go ahead and connect it, that is take out the 1 inch and connect. So I'll be working on the upper part of this dress now. So remember that neckline of 3.5 inches we marked. I'll go ahead to mark it here. I'll be extending it for the back collar of the dress. After extending it, from that point I'll go out by ½ inch and then I'll reconnect it back to the main line. This is so that the collar of the dress will sit properly at the neckline of the dress. So I'll just go ahead and outline this. Next, I'll be coming out by 3 inches. That is the measurement I want for this part of my collar, and I will outline this. Now you want to reconnect this down, but before reconnecting it, you're going to connect from the neckline all the way to the waistline of this pattern. So I'll just go ahead and connect from here to the other end. So after I was done connecting, this is what I have. And the next step I'm going to take is to go ahead and use my marker to outline this to make it more visible for you to see. So the next step I'm going to take now is to mark out this collar part. So I'll extend this part by 3 inches from that line, and I'll be connecting this to the lower part, and as I'm going down, I'm reducing it in size because that is what we actually have on the dress. Now I'll just use my marker to outline this. So after I'm done outlining, we are going to go ahead to reconnect this collar. So I'll outline this part now, and I will go in by 1 inch now, place my tape, slant it a bit and come out by 1 inch. So after doing this, I'll just go ahead to reconnect this all the way to the end of my collar. So I'm done cutting out this part and I'll blend it out. This is what I have. So with this, I'm done cutting out the front part of this blazer. Then moving towards this part, from the hip point, I'll start drawing like a curve, because if you notice on that dress we have like a curve. So at the end, go in by 1 inch or 1.5, and then you're going to connect, creating that curve we have on that side. And I'll just draw this out to indicate that this is the side that has the button. So you're going to be cutting this into 2 pieces, like you use this pattern to cut 2 pieces on your fabric. And if you notice, one side will be inside while the other will be out. So the part that is inside, I feel there's a pressing button at the dress that is inside the dress to hold it firm. So after this, I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out. So this is what I have after cutting out, and I'll go ahead to cut out the rest of the dress. So if you find this video very interesting and educative, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, leave your comments at the comment section, and if you have any question, also leave it at the comment section. So now for the sleeve part, I've gone ahead to mark my starting line, elbow line, and wrist line. So the next step I'm going to take is to find my sleeve cap height. To find that is your bust circumference divided by 12 plus 0.5 inches. Mine is 3.25. I made a mark on that point and I will outline. So after this, at that point, you're going to mark your armhole circumference divided by 2. My armhole is 16 divided by 2. I have 8 and I marked. From that 8 inches, you're going to place and connect it to the upper part. Now you're going to divide this into 2 this way and you will mark. From that midpoint again, you will place your tape and you're going to divide and mark. From this midpoint, come up by ½ inches. Now on the other side, place from the midpoint to the end, mark and come down by ½ inch. Now you're going to connect all these marks starting from the lower part to starting from the midpoint to that ½ inch at the lower part and to your armhole circumference. From the midpoint, connect to the upper part of the ½ inch and to the upper part of your sleeve. Go ahead to outline and remember also to add ½ inch for your sleeve joining to the dress. Now you're going to mark your elbow circumference divided by 2 and add your sewing allowance. Mark your wrist circumference divided by 2 and add your sewing allowance. Go ahead to connect all these points. After you're done connecting, this is your basic sleeve. Go ahead to cut it out. So if you find this tutorial very interesting and educative, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. You can also follow us on our other channel at Maki's Closet, and also if you want to join our group, you can also indicate at the comment section. Thanks.